So you know how the left's always talking about how their rights are being taken away, but they can't actually point to any of their rights that have been taken away, um, but always act like they are the great defenders of America's civil liberties. Well, I want to bring up Washington State Bill 2321, so that I can illustrate how they, in fact, are actually the ones constantly trying to strip us of our civil liberties. Before we get into this, though, because it very specifically, this bill focuses on an object that I'm fairly certain TikTok wouldn't really appreciate me talking about. So it's going to be kind of hard. Well, I'm going to explain to you a term. So the thing we're talking about is, well, first of all, it's the number 3, and then the letter D, like 3D glasses, you know. So you take that though, and then after that number and that letter, you put printer. Put those together. That's what we're talking about today. Now, if you don't know what those are, fair enough. It's not a huge hobby, but it is a very important one. In place of that term, we're going to say additive manufactured or additively manufactured, some variation of that. Just know that if I say those words, what I actually mean is the other thing that they probably don't like. Washington State Bill 2321 aims to require additive manufacturers to be equipped with specific blocking technologies to prevent the printing of weapons and illegal weapons parts. Bill purpose and requirements. Washington State Bill 2321, introduced in January 2026, seeks to address the growing concern over the unlawful manufacturing of weapons using additive manufacturers. The bill mandates that all 3-dimensional printers sold in Washington must have integrated software controls capable of detecting and rejecting print requests for weapons or illegal weapons parts. This includes the implementation of weapons detection algorithm that must approve design files before they can be printed. Now, in case anybody forgot, the Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." But on top of that, this is actually an assault on our First Amendment right as well. Now, if you're unsure as to whether or not code is in fact protected speech under the First Amendment, yes, code is considered free speech under the First Amendment. The legal precedent established by Bernstein v. United States in 1993 recognized that computer source code and similar digital expressions are forms of speech protected by the First Amendment. So, yeah, basically, you can forget your First and Second Amendment right. And, you know, while we're at it, since Kamala Harris is still being floated as a potential 2028 presidential candidate, let's go ahead and take a walk down memory lane and look at some of the things that she said regarding our civil liberties.
Yes, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz is a gun owner, and we're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them. But we do need an assault weapons ban.
You know, I bet the authors of the Constitution thought they were being real clear when they said shall not be infringed in the Second Amendment.
Behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
That last clip is from way back in the day when she was a state's attorney or prosecutor, or whatever it was in California. But the point remains that, you know, you can pretty much kiss your Fourth Amendment goodbye too, because in case you didn't hear what she said, they're going to go into people's houses to make sure that they have their legally owned firearms locked up safely. So what are we at? You can kiss your First Amendment goodbye, your Second Amendment goodbye, your Fourth Amendment goodbye. And then if you really want to think about it, they held a bunch of those J6ers in you know, custody and prison, whatever, without trial and blah, blah, blah for like 4 years or whatever it was, until Trump released them. So you can probably kiss your right to an attorney goodbye as well. Look, the broader point is definitely that the only people that are actually trying to strip rights from Americans is the Democratic Party. And in fact, they're trying to hand more and more rights to illegal immigrants that shouldn't even be here. It's just a wild situation to be in as a country. But the more specific point is to this, bill in Washington, HB, I think 2321. If you live in Washington and you would like to retain your First and Second Amendment rights, I would strongly suggest you call your congressman and let them know that you're not cool with this. Because even if you don't additively manufacture firearm parts, or whatever it may be, it is still just another assault on your Second Amendment and, in fact, First Amendment rights.